Well, it was a big party, of course, a Saturday night, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and the president spoke to a maskless audience there, making some jokes about his low poll numbers and the numerous crises his administration is battling. Join us to discuss some of this is GOP strategist Ford O'Connell. Great to have you with us today, Ford. Okay, so I'm having a little trouble hearing you. I'm going to make sure that I can hear you so you and I can talk here. But first of all, there were some jokes about his approval numbers being lower. The only people lower were the reporters in the room. What did you make of the president's, jokes and his monologue here, Ford?
Well, it's clear from his monologue that he doesn't seem to care about the American people. Biden's policies have led to the highest inflation in 40 years. People can't afford food. They can't afford gas. They can't afford housing. And yet, what is he doing? He's laughing at the American people. I mean, it's completely dishonest. Further, the only thing he's not joking about, they didn't laugh about during the Correspondents' Dinner, was Hunter Biden.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's the haves and the have-nots there. We continue to see the elite ruling class there, rules for thee. We also bring in Project 21 member Whitley Yates is with us as well to kind of expand this chat here, because obviously, this event hadn't happened in a few years, so people were interested to see what it was going to be like. I think that one of the interesting things is a Washington Post reporter is slammed for her comments she made on Twitter. I want to put up this tweet here. She said, "This room is like a horror film, no exits, literally getting trapped, tables, people fear of breathing near everybody." A few hours before the tweet, she was maskless, smiling, seemingly having a good time. And here's another thing. No one forced you to go. Whitley, what do you make of that reporter's comment?
I mean, it's hypocrisy at its finest. It's the same thing that we've seen throughout COVID, where they make these choices and decisions, and then they want to talk about or discuss how terrified they are. She made a choice to go to this event. She made a choice not to wear a mask, and now we're supposed to feel sorry for her because she's turned herself into some victim, but decided to stay till the end of the event. It's complete hypocrisy from the left, and I'm not surprised that you would see something like this after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. It's like our pain is their punchline. They're using it as jokes when the American people are reeling from this lack of leadership in the White House.
Yeah, I mean, with historic inflation, it is obviously very sobering for people who can't, afford to put gas in their car. Let's take a listen to that clip about President Biden talking about his approval rating.
I'm really excited to be here tonight with the only group of Americans with a lower approval rating than I have.
Yeah, I think they're failing in so many regards, Ford, and there's a room full of failure there. And, I think at the end of the day, it's hard to see these people get together and laugh at things which Americans know they're going to have a voice in, at least come the midterms.
Well, there's no question about it that the inflation, the economy, crime, and the border is why the Republicans are going to win in the 2022 midterms. But as someone who's attended several of these White House Correspondents' Dinners, let's understand what these dinners are. They're for the press, by the press, and they're going to pal each other around and slap each other on the back and say what a good job they are, while the entire time the only reason why Biden's approval numbers aren't worse is because these people are blocking and tackling for him, and essentially an extension of the Democratic Party.
They are. And then did you notice, too, Fauci showed up in the post parties not wearing a mask. So he skips the dinner, but then has to show up for the after party. Whitley, did you see that kind of circulating social media, the hypocrisy there on full display?
Fauci has been one of the main hypocrites this entire time. He spread nothing but disinformation about COVID, and every time an election came, they needed to do what was best for them and act like COVID doesn't exist. And we knew that that was going to happen. It's as if President Biden is so happy that his approval ratings are low, as if it's like the limbo. How low can you go? When in reality, he should be judging himself on how many Americans he's helped post-pandemic to get back on their feet. And we all know that he hasn't done anything for Americans, and through his policies and his spending, which is completely out of control, his open pocketbook spending, we are going to be in a worse place and a worse situation for the rest of this year and years to come until we get him out of the White House.
Yeah, and of course, it wasn't that long ago when President Trump was running things, and wow, the economy was a whole lot better. Let's listen. I want to get both of your reaction to this clip. It's Biden making a dig towards former President Trump here.
This is the first time the president attended this dinner in 6 years. It's understandable. We had a horrible plague, followed by 2 years of COVID.
And where did it originate? And where did it come from? And who got the vaccines? Okay, a lot of things here that, you know, we know reality now 2 years in, Ford. What did you make of that clip there from the president mocking Trump?
Well, the president wants to mock Trump because he believes that the only way that he can stay the bleeding in 2022 is basically by playing up Trump and talking about hate. It's the same old Democratic playbook. They have to find a boogeyman. They're going to go back to the well. They're trying to pin the tail on Trump, and it's not going to work. And Joe Biden is beside himself because essentially, if we have another quarter of GDP that drops like the last one, we're going to be in a recession, and we're all going to be crying, middle class, lower class, and the White House.
Absolutely. We're looking at the Fed possibly hiking rates this week. Whitley, you know, obviously the public isn't buying it. We know the poll numbers. He could try to mock Trump, but that joke is definitely not going to fly with Americans who have the reality here.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is Joe Biden is looking for any reason to shift people's attention off of what him and his shady crime family has been doing, shift them off what his son, Hunter Biden, has been doing, and what these laptops tell us about their foreign investments and entanglements consistently. And so he's attempting to utilize Trump as almost like a heron to say, hey, don't think about the fact that I'm not leading this country. Don't think about the debauchery when it comes to our foreign affairs. Don't think about the fact that we're on the brink of a world war with record high inflation and the fact that we don't have food coming into our stores and have such supply chain shortages. Here, focus on this boogeyman and let me have the media continue to perpetuate these negative narratives and stereotypes so that you can't actually see what is happening. But the American people are smarter than that. That's why his approval ratings are so low. And he's attempting to buy the media and get their promise without publishing the things that he's been doing, without propagating the truth about him, his family, and the piss poor leadership we have in the White House right now.
Ooh, not holding back. Whitley Yates, Ford O'Connell, thanks for joining me, and stand by. We know we'll be back with you a bit later on in the program.